My Camaro has a leaking head gasket and is showing all the signs. So let's get this thing in the shop and start tearing it apart. This is a V8, so it's head gaskets because there's actually two. We got one on this side and one on this side, but the more head, the better, so I'm not too mad at it. And the first step to doing a head gasket is draining the coolant. So let's jack this thing up and drain it all out.
Well, I'm good at draining it.
See how fast I jack it? All right, we're gonna unplug it. Now, when you unplug it, you gotta be safe. It's gonna come real fast at you. You gotta dodge it.
It's a good thing you're used to coming fast.
Now I'm good at dodging when it comes fast. Now, it is funny that we're actually draining this coolant because in the last video when I fixed the water pump, we had drained it and filled it back up. So kind of ironic that we're already draining it again. And the second step we have to do after draining the coolant is go ahead and pull this air intake off. There's a couple connectors and clamps. Right now we're on the easy part. Once we dive in a lot deeper, it's gonna start to get a lot harder. I mean a lot harder. But my brother right here is actually pretty experienced with Chevys. He owned a couple Chevy trucks, did a head gasket on that. We're hoping he can help us with this. All right, got the first part off. Oh, this connector. Now, one of the hard parts to this is gonna be remembering where things go because there's lots of stuff that has to be unplugged and taken off. So we're actually gonna be taking pictures along the way, which is something we've never done. My memory's usually good, but I don't wanna mess this thing up. All right, there's one connector for the throttle body. I see another connector and then just a vacuum hose. And then we could move on to a different part of the engine.
While he's unplugging those, I'm gonna reach in and grab some of these injectors and start unplugging these. There we go. All right, all the injectors on this side are unplugged. You gotta push it in like that and it slides up.
Oh, nice. All right, now he did that side, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the ones off on this side. Now, we're not taking out the whole injector, just the connectors that go into them that will prevent us from lifting up the intake manifold because that's what we're working on trying to get out first. Now, there's also this important plate on the rear, which I'm pretty sure has something to do with the EGR. Kind of hard to reach, but there's two bolts holding that plate in. So we gotta reach back there, and we can't really see anything, but we kind of just have to fish a socket on there and try to unbolt it. And now I'm also gonna go ahead and unbolt this throttle cable bracket because that's hooked up to the throttle body and a little bit of the intake manifold. I don't know if y'all ever saw that trick, guys. If you start holding the ratchet before it actually goes on the bolt, which, yes, there's risk of rounding the bolt, but it'll actually come off even with the little power ratchet. I'm gonna have to take these throttle cables off, actually.
So many vacuum lines. Never seen this many vacuum lines.
All right, whew, finally got both cables out the way. And I actually think I could just leave that bracket on there now that I think about it.
I'm still working on getting this back plate off of the intake. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think Isaac said it might be an EGR valve or something. Not really sure, but it's connected to the back of the intake. Two really hard bolts to reach, so it's taking me a while to get them out. But this is still the easy part. Getting them in is gonna be a lot harder. But it's a good thing I'm no stranger to putting it in holes that are hard to find.
That are in the rear. Okay, guys, kind of bent over right now. I'm gonna take off some more vacuum hoses that are leading to the intake manifold because there's a lot of them. And now we got off everything off the intake manifold that we have to. We just gotta pop off two fuel lines, which he's gonna be using his fuel line removal tool. And I know people they not say this, but it's going a lot smoother than I expected.
Gotta push it first so this can go into it.
All right, got the fuel line tool on there, so now we're just gonna slide it back. Oh shit, that was dumb.
It always happens. Let's use a little rag, hold it there so you can catch the fuel. We learned our lesson for the next one. We're gonna put a rag under it this time before we remove the second fuel line.
And we got both fuel lines off, so now I'm gonna start tackling the intake manifold bolt. I'm not too sure how many there is. I think it's 6 on each side. After we count 6 on each side, we'll try to pull it up. Look at all that dirt build up in there. That's why it was coming out weird. All right, he's getting the second bolt with the ratchet. Power was a bit risky, although I love power.
There's also a ton of dirt, leaves, broken acorns, all kinds of stuff inside of these cracks of this intake manifold and everything. Super filthy. You can tell this car wasn't very well taken care of.
Yeah, we'll probably get a vacuum in there too, clean up the intake manifold, especially while it's out of the car. And now I believe that we got everything off. You know, for sure we got all the bolts off, took off the vacuum hoses and the connectors, so it still doesn't really move when we try to just lift it up. So without messing up the mating surface, I'm gonna try to get this little pry bar in there, see if we can get some separation. Okay, so actually instead of doing that, because we really don't want to mess up the mating surface, I'm gonna see if I can wedge it on the throttle body and try to pry it up that way. Oh wow, that was a great idea. Okay, well that idea actually worked really good. That came right up once I did that. So we'll just keep working it up a little bit, getting some separation, and then we'll just pick this thing up. And now we're gonna try to lift this thing up together. You don't only just lift it up, you also have to lift it up and move it forward because of how far back the engine is. Okay, wait. All right, oh shit.
What? Something's connected to this.
Oh no. Okay, so there's actually one vacuum line we forgot. That's on the back of this thing. I don't even know what this thing is. And I'm actually gonna give you all a closer look at the intake and what the bottom of it looks like. But as far as what we were saying that we were telling you about when we were taking the bolts off, all this dirt and leaves that was in the way of the bolts, just disgusting stuff that was probably getting sucked into the engine. Also on this side as well. It's actually surprisingly really clean in certain areas right over there. So that really surprises me. And while we have this off, we're actually just gonna go ahead and swap out the injectors and the pressure regulator because we have a lot more access to it. And then we'll also clean up this gasket and move on to the next part. So after looking at the intake manifold, I went to go ahead and look in the engine to inspect the push rods because we were wondering if we were gonna need to swap them out. And they actually look pretty new and good. But as I took a closer look, I noticed something really, really bad, guys. Snapped push rod in there. Not sure exactly what that entails, but this engine has been having a lot of issues, and that is definitely a big reason why. So we're gonna have to go ahead and get new push rods. That is not something that I was expecting to see when looking in there. This engine is a lot more messed up than I thought it was gonna be.
They're not in tight.
Gosh. Got the fuel rail bolts off, so because we got to take that off to replace the injectors. So go ahead and give it a little tug and they should all pop up out at once. There we go. We'll just take these off and replace them. And we got all the new injectors mounted. As you can see, these ones are nice and black. And we're gonna just go ahead and bolt the fuel rail back up now. Lubricating the O-rings on the injectors as well so it can slip right in. And now I got the fuel rail mounted back to the intake manifold. Injectors are all pushed in. Fuel regulator is on there as well. So that's all new. Fuel system should be good. So let's go back to this engine. All the passages, everything is just filled up with dirt, leaves, and acorns. So we're really gonna have to clean that off, scrape off this gasket as well. But to have a little bit more access, I'm gonna take off these valve covers first. All right, so the valve cover is actually only just 4 bolts on each one. They take a Torx. There we go. A little bit hard to reach when you try to get them with power, but I don't feel like using hand tools. So let's see if I can pull it up now. There's like literally no room to grab it and get it out of here. I'm trying to avoid taking off stuff that I don't want to, aka the alternator. Otherwise, this would be super easy to pull out. I'm having a little bit of trouble taking that side out. So I'm actually just gonna take this side out first and then figure out that one after. There we go. All right, try to pull this one off. There we go. Ooh, nice. Way more room on this side than the other. Okay, valve cover is off. It doesn't look too bad inside of there. It looks pretty clean. Gasket actually looks pretty good. Okay, so it's not just a snap push rod, guys. Did you just, ooh. Okay, so pulled the push rod out. Push rod is still actually in shape, although we thought it was snapped. One of the rocker arms is just completely loose and flopping around, and that's probably all the slapping noises that we heard while driving it. And that's definitely causing a lot of the issues.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these rocker arms out of here, and then we're gonna pull the head afterwards. Oh yeah, these things are on here somewhat tight. Some of them were kind of loose though. You can see, well, not that one, but this one doesn't move, you can see. And then if you go down the line, this one moves a little bit. So some of them, I guess, aren't as tight as they could be. That's not good. That's probably how that other push rod fell out of place. We're gonna pull these ones out too and just inspect these real quick. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and replace these things anyway, just because we have them out, so there's no reason not to. They don't look extremely terrible, like just off a visual inspection, they don't look bad. They all look pretty straight. If you roll them on a flat surface, you can see if they flop around or not. These look okay, but like I said, we're gonna replace them anyway. Yeah, it's like really insane how filthy the inside of this engine is. I've seen dirty engine bays. I don't think I've ever seen a dirty engine. This is like ridiculous. So if anyone's confused why there's 2 push rods and rocker arms for each cylinder, it's because you have 1 intake valve and 1 exhaust valve. So you got 2 for each cylinder. That's why there's 16 in total. They don't look that bad, which is kind of concerning. I would honestly be happier if we were to tell off rip that there was something like wrong with the push rod, like it was bent or whatever. Now we just don't know if it was loose or if it was put in wrong. We kind of have to figure that out on our own now. So that makes it a little bit harder when there's not a completely obvious sign as to why something failed. So based off our visual inspection, we have no clear sign of failure. My best guess is that it wasn't tightened all the way or that it just came loose somehow. We're gonna go ahead and try to loosen up these head bolts, pull the head, further inspect and see if we can find out what's wrong.
All right, and the exhaust manifold is off and out of the way on this side. Still on that side, there's like literally no room on that side. I'm loving the driver's side right now. So now we have access to all the head bolts. Oh, shit. Fuck. Oh, it's like she's squirting at it. Now it's stuck. Oh, shit. Fuck. Oh, fuck.
Squirting.
Oh no.
Drop the bolt.
Oh fuck, are you oh fuck, grab a cup.
Get the pan, get the oil pan.
Dude, it's just gonna keep pissing, bro. And now I got both heads out, which was really hard to film because these heads are extremely hard to get out. But we got the driver's side head out and the passenger side head out. Cleaned up as much as the surface as we could off the block. And we sat the heads over here on our workbench. So we got the driver's side head here, the passenger side head here. Cleaned up a little bit where the intake manifold is gonna seat. And then without messing up, I'll show y'all, we cleaned the bottom as well. So nice surface to go on there in between the head gasket. And now we're just gonna put the head gasket on and slap everything on there.
All right, so we got the dead blow right here. This might look a little bit questionable, but the reason we're doing this is because most people either snake it up from the bottom on a lift, or they have to make some cuts and dents and whatever else on the side of the thing or on mounts and stuff. We don't want to do any of that, so I got it snaked in as far as it can go without beating it, pulling it away from the head so it's not scraping on the head or anything. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna beat this into submission until it goes down there. So, dead blow. It's almost in, still hitting the side right here. We're just gonna... Oh, fuck. Spark plug went flying into here. All right, so as you guys can see, we finally got the headers in on both sides, the driver's side and the passenger side. Now, the passenger side was a little bit easier. I had to take the spark plugs out on both sides in order to make them fit. It's a super, super tight fit, but they do fit as long as you can get them in. This would be a lot easier if we had a lift and we could snake them in from the bottom. But unfortunately, we very clearly don't have a lift here, so we had to do it from the top. On this side, it was pretty straightforward, just slip them in. I went down to the bottom, yanked it from the bottom, and it fell right into place. The driver's side, on the other hand, was not that simple. I had to do a combination of trying to fit it in from the top, which we realized wasn't gonna work. So then eventually, what we decided on doing is, well, you can't see the ridiculous jack setup that we had going on. It was very unsafe, and we ended up having to lift this car up as high as we possibly could, blocks of wood under the jack and everything, in order to get it high enough to snake the headers in from the bottom. After all that hard work, we finally got that done, and now they're all bolted into place. Spark plugs are back in, and all the spark plug wires are back in, so we're ready to move on to the intake manifold, valve covers, and plugging stuff back in.
And the first step after putting those headers on is gonna be taking out these new rocker arms and push rods that we got and slapping those in. As you can see, these are brand new, nice and shiny. Can't wait to get these in there. And if you remember in the start of the video, they weren't even on there tight, and one was like already falling off. The push rod wasn't even in place. This should make a big difference in how this car runs. Okay guys, the car is out of the garage now, and if you look into the engine bay, everything is put back together. We got the intake manifold on there, we got the valve covers, we got the head, we got the alternator. So everything is back on there. And like I said, we also got them long tube headers from Flashshark. And if you want to pick anything up, JK15 will give you 15% off. I'm excited to start this thing with the new rock arms and push rods and head gasket in there. And also we get to hear what it sounds like with the long tube headers. Let's go in there and start it.
Getting the fuel in, it's good.
Okay guys, we're a little low on fuel. It was super low on fuel when we parked it, so it's not starting. I'm gonna just hook it up with some fuel real quick. If you notice, it wasn't firing up and clicking like that every time. That's because I did a little bit of work on the starter. When I went to put the starter back on, the cable for the grounds just completely came off, so I realized it was probably never on there to begin with, and it was just in place. So I replaced that whole cable. Now she cranks.